So welcome to the next video in the AT Academy, which is called how to scale this business model to the moon. So scaling this to the moon, you have a few ways of scaling a theme page to the moon in regards to the revenue model or just in traffic in general. So a few ways are basically setting up partnerships and network. Setting up partnerships basically means that you can partner up with different people that sell products or services, or for example have a really big page, as long as you know how to sell or how to get them a certain results. Because the thing is with partnering up is that people always need something basically, and if you can provide that one thing to them when you need something that they have, it's just a transaction. So scaling to multiple platforms like TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, etc. I would only recommend you do this when you, for example, sell your own digital product, although you can do it if you want to, but TikTok, YouTube usually are the best ones to go for. You can also decide to go Twitter. YouTube is basically for the long form content format, right? So let's say you want to scale to YouTube. It's more along the lines of like building your personal brand out instead of like a theme page. You can definitely do shorts or in that sort of style, but I would just recommend you stick to Instagram first, then for example scale up your offer, etc. But this is a way to scale your business to the moon basically. So influencer marketing, the influencer marketing is basically where you buy a promotion on a big page or do a group promotion with like 5 other people that basically sell or want to drive traffic to a certain page. So this can be your personal brand, for example. This can make sense if you don't have a lot of followers or you want to get a different sort of audience. So let's say your audience is like India related or it's just a low quality audience. What you can then do is do influencer marketing on high quality USA audiences. So a personal brand, this is one of the best things I would recommend you do, because a personal brand is basically where you just document your journey. So if you're really into this for the long term, it's literally just documenting what you do on a daily basis to grow your theme page, to grow your business, etc. And people are pretty fascinated about this. And if you can get real true followers for your personal brand, I can guarantee that those will turn into customers in the future. Using data a lot better, so email, text, etc. So with data, you can ask yourself, for example, when you sell a digital product or service, etc., especially when selling, you can ask yourself, like, where do I receive certain pieces of data and what do I do with them? So let's say I have a landing page where I ask for your name and email and phone number, for example. Do I actually text the person after they fill in that information? Or what do I do with that information, right? And you always want to save it, because the data you get, classify that in a certain way, right? So let's say I have a landing page around crypto, whatever I'm selling basically, and all these people put in their information. They basically are telling you, hey Alex, I'm interested in what the landing page is about, so you have to kind of recognize, oh, the data they're giving me is obviously for a reason, right? So you always want to store the data you get in a certain area on your computer or whatever, and along the lines or down the line you can obviously use them to do email marketing, SMS marketing, etc. So creating a system that's proven to work. Creating a system that's proven to work is basically just a sales system, a lead generation system, a growth system, whatever it really is for your business at that certain point that really needs. But creating a system that works is super important. They will be ever changing in regards to you changing the systems over and over again. But I would always test and try to keep to a certain standard of, for example, conversion rates, right? So let's say you have a sales system that you don't know if it's performing, right? Let's say your closer, or let's say from all the inbound leads, only 10% convert, or from your closer that closes people on a phone, for example, he only closes 20% of all the leads. Either the leads are shit, your closer is shit, or your offer is shit. One of those three, basically. So doubling down on what's working instead of decreasing your focus by doing other things. So doubling down on what's working is the best thing I would recommend you do. And it's really hard to also realize this, but it's not as hard as people think, right? So when you go into the online world, you'll probably be like completely flabbergasted by and blown away by all the different routes and opportunities you can go for, because all these things will be coming your way and just throwing at you like certain opportunities, etc., to make more money, to do this, to do that, etc. So you always want to see what's working for yourself right now. Does it align with your goal? Is it getting you to the certain point you want to go for? Yes, no, yes, no. And don't decrease your focus by doing all sorts of other things for a different reason. So for example, if I'm scared to do really dive deep into making my own offer, I would just try to sell something else temporarily, or I would make a podcast for some random reason, right? So you always want to back it up with a certain reason that is relevant to the certain stage you're at in your journey, but that's also relevant, or the certain stage is also relevant to the goal you want to go for. So creating a funnel or landing page that people can opt into, this is really good as well to come back to the fifth point, which is using data a lot better, so email, text, etc. So creating a funnel or landing page that people can opt into is basically just a landing page you can create with all sorts of software, and people can opt into something for a free training, for a free ebook, for a freebie basically, which they basically just give their information for, and then they have access to that certain thing. But by obviously giving the information, they tell you, hey Alex, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z topic. So buying or starting more Instagram theme pages. This is a very hard topic because a lot of people try to create more pages as soon as they possibly can. Obviously, if you do have a lot of time and you aren't working, or you already have your offer done, for example, you can definitely do this. It really depends on the goal you have, the stage you're at, etc. But I would only recommend this if you do have a lot of time and if you want to sell something in the long term, basically. So a long term basically means 1 year plus, because in that 1 year, your theme pages will be at a certain level if you implemented all the strategies right, that you can then launch a big ass offer and just crush it basically. Implementing automation and software make it easier. So for example, Pabbly Connect, Zapier, Calendly, Go High Level, etc. So with software, you may get flabbergasted by it as well, or blown away, or however you want to say it, because there are so many pieces of software out there, right? So Calendly is basically just a software you can use to book people onto calls. Go High Level is a bit more complicated with automations, hosting a membership. You also have Teachable for that. You have Kajabi, all sorts. But I would just recommend you stick to the basics and just use Calendly if you need to use it. Zapier, you can actually create multiple accounts. What I did was I created like 5 different accounts, all for free on trials. And then I connected the automations I needed, for example, with text notifications or whatever, to all those different Zapier accounts. So I didn't have to pay for it. So outsourcing tasks that you don't enjoy as much and have a low ROI. So for example, content creation. The reason why you want to eventually outsource certain things is so you can put more focus into another things, right? So in the Instagram theme page space, how it usually goes is that you first build your page up, you learn the strategies yourself, you post the content yourself, you do everything yourself. And then when you really master that, you hire someone who can do it better, or you can teach to do it better eventually down the line as well. So for example, a page manager, right? They can manage the DMs, the posting the stories, posting the content, growing the page, connecting with other people. So they can do everything for you that you do on a daily basis with your page. But obviously coming back to the systems part, you have to create a certain system they can follow to then grow and implement certain things, right? Besides that, content creation, let's say you make your own content, you can definitely outsource this as well. Although I would recommend you outsourcing it to someone you've trained or who you've shown and expressed your whole vision with your brand to, just because you want to make sure that the person who's actually creating the content is on the same line as you. So scaling / improving your offer, this is one of the most common ones. People have shit offers, so they need to improve and scale their offer. So that basically means either scaling basically means creating more offers or creating freebies to then upsell people to certain other offers. Improving your offer just means redesigning it really and trying to get people to the certain outcome you promise them to go through as soon as possible. And even if that's adding your own flair to it, adding community, adding, I don't know, tutorials, resources, whatever it is. But yeah, identifying the needs your business has, asking yourself questions and tracking. So asking yourself questions just comes down to like, okay, what do I feel like my business really has as a certain need right now? So this could be either traffic, hiring people, outsourcing, time, focus, whatever it really is. But then really try to deep dive into that one problem and solve it as soon as you can, because a business, especially Instagram and online businesses, are all about speed. So asking yourself, tracking. So tracking, I would recommend this when you're at a certain stage, because usually up to like 5 or 10K a month, you can track for sure, but you definitely want to spend the time on the most highest ROI, return on investment activities like sales, posting, marketing materials, the backend for the customers, getting them results, etc. Right? Tracking numbers, same thing as what I just said. Hiring A players into your team, this is also very important down the line. you can definitely do like everything for yourself with one theme page to scale up to 5 to 10k a month. But eventually when you hit that threshold, depending on what you sell, etc., you can definitely hire people into your team. You always want to make sure they're A players, so you have like a qualification process with hiring them. You can find a lot of this information that I'm kind of explaining to you in this video module on the internet as well. What is automation? So automation comes down to creating processes or systems to decrease the amount of energy input while maintaining or increasing the output. It comes down to a few things: higher volume, lower conversion, lower energy input. So for example, higher volume basically just means automation that you can implement when you just have a lot of volume. So you can't manually do all the tasks yourself. So that means that with a really good automation, you can do more tasks while maintaining the level of the quality level basically, and decreasing the energy input you have into it basically. So you're removing the manually and you're replacing it with an automation, lower conversion and lower energy input. So enjoying an activity is something you can also outsource, but be aware that you have to be at a certain stage before outsourcing. So on the right you see kind of like a system I built with presented with activity. Will I enjoy this? Yes or no? Yes. Calendar or action list? No. If let's say you go for the no route, is it income generating? Yes. No. Yes. Can it be outsourced? Yes. Request assistance? No. Calendar or action list? And then is it income generating? Sorry. No. Obligation? No. Yes. Eliminate. You can automate in two ways: outsourcing, creating your own systems or processes, so through like automation software, using software to create your own systems and processes. So the reality of an Instagram theme page, but also scaling with an Instagram theme page. First of all, understanding the basics, so trial and error. This basically comes down to practicing a lot and realizing what works, what doesn't, etc. But really documenting your journey here as well. Then building your page plus laying out your plan. So building out the page in terms of the layout, foundations, what are you going to do on a daily basis to actually grow it? Then laying out your plan, where do you eventually want to go in, like, let's say a month, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 5 years, 10 years, etc., right? Product/service selling, launching. So with this you can, obviously when you first start everything, you want to build it up to a certain point where you're getting into a certain routine very frequently. It's kind of like, I compare it always to brushing your teeth. It has to be such an activity that you do on a daily basis, that you got like the growth, for example, or the certain activities you need to do to grow your page and to go to that certain point that you laid out as your plan. So product/service selling launch is basically an additional task you add while maintaining everything you've built up so far. So it's not like you're fully focusing into product/service selling launch and neglecting the growth, etc., but you're basically maintaining both and then spending little time on the product/service selling launch and then preparing that for the future. So then you can build it out with systems and automations and then scaling to past 5 or 6 figures. So the bigger picture is basically first page setup. So that's where you're going to be focusing on first. Then on the content, learning what content to post, what works, what's aligned with your niche, what styles work, etc. Then growth, what growth strategies are you actually going to implement to grow your page? Then building fans, so how do you even build fans? You know, you can get followers, but these aren't fans. So how do you turn followers into fans that you really, like align with your brand and that would eventually buy down along the line, for example. So this point is really important because I know pages of like 3,000 followers that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, but I also know pages of 100,000 followers that aren't even making 1K a month. Selling/sales, that's the next step. Learning what systems to implement, how to actually sell this, where do you sell this, do you do it through a landing page, the DMs, whatever it is. And then automation, so automating the things you are currently doing, and eventually you can hire people as well as kind of like a 7th step to this. So scaling and positioning, as I mentioned before, you can buy more pages. You can either buy or create more pages in your similar niche or in a different niche that also aligns with your customer avatar. Creating a personal brand, improving offers/increasing LTV, so that means lifetime value. Let's say you have a client that you sold a $100 product to. How can you turn that client into a $1,100 client, basically? So when you have a client, it's always your client. So you eventually want to sell something along the lines down along the lines to them as well, to then increase the value of that client, so the LTV. Using other lead generation strategies, so for example referrals, partnerships, email marketing, SMS marketing. I can't give specific advice here because it really depends on your business and the route you're basically going for with your Instagram theme page. Paid growth, you can do promotions on other pages, buying bulk promotions with a group of 3 to 10 people, then buy 10 posts, for example, for $1,000, and now you're paying $100 for 10 posts with 10 people. It's a really kind of cool hack in a way, but it's really convenient. So yeah, this was the main outlining of this module of scaling your business to the moon. If you do have any more questions, feel free to ask in the community. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.